There are countless reasons to love this time of year. The garden is just coming alive. There's so much to see. It changes day by day. But one of my really just things that I just love to do is take a tour around my garden and go on a little hunt to see which clematis might have come into bloom. So I have many clematis in my garden. Some have already come and gone in terms of like their bloom. Some of them are early season bloomers. But this time of year, it seems like I walk around and somebody new is in bloom each day. So we're going to do a little bit of an Easter egg hunt. We're going to walk around my garden on today, which is May 10th, which is kind of it's a very springy day. It's been a little warmer and kind of drier. So just to give you an idea of what's happening weather-wise here. I'm in Portland, Oregon, which is USDA Zone 8A, fringing on 8B, fringing on 9A. And yeah, so we're just going to walk around the garden, and I'm going to start in one corner, and I'm going to do a full loop, and we're going to go through, and I'm going to show you each of the clematis that is blooming in my garden today. We're starting on the north side of my garden, and this one is just a beauty. And it's one of my oldest clematis, and so for that reason, I am not 100% certain of its identification. I'm calling it Silver Moon. So if you're watching this and you're thinking that is not Silver Moon, then by all means let me know in the comments. But that's how I've interpreted it. It's on the north side of my house, so it's not my sunniest location, but it gets enough sun to really perform well, and this is its moment. So, Clematis Silver Moon, pretty, and it's growing against a fence in a very narrow section of my garden. Nearby and just getting started is Clematis Myojo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's also been in my garden for a very long time, and as you can see, it is just getting started. So there will be a nice sequence of bloom in this area. This is Clematis Asao, or Asao. So how you pronounce that is your guess is as good as mine. Also been in my garden for a very long time, and it's a really interesting one. So I don't know if you can see it. So it starts it's kind of layered itself, and throughout this area it's probably rooted in about 3 different locations, and so it just kind of runs through this section of the garden, climbs on a structure there, and then we'll see it again over on that fence line. This is a compact short variety that's one of the Boulevard series, and it's called Acropolis. And I love the color, and I love its growth habit. It's actually just really quite compact and quite small. This is Boulevard from the other side of that structure. And there are at least four clematis kind of growing on this structure. And he's the first one to come into bloom. It's going to be followed by uh, tons of blooms throughout the season. You can kind of see up there, got lots of buds forming, but that isn't blooming today, so that's not what we're looking at. But here we are from the other side. This is Boulevard, Acropolis, very compact and just a really pretty color. I mentioned that Asao just rambles through a really big section of my garden. So here it is over here. You can see his pretty face, and there he is there, and clambering through a hydrangea back there, and back through there. He's got a bit of a structure that he's climbing on, and then another shrub. So that makes it seem like that one is maybe aggressive, and that's not the case at all. It's actually a very uh, good grower that shares space well, um, and it's just been in my garden for a long time, so it's kind of rooted in a couple of different locations, and I've allowed it to do that. It'll be joined later by other bloomers. Lots of layering happening here, but we're only looking at the ones that are blooming right now. And this is Clematis John Warren, and just one of my favorites with enormous, enormous blooms. Look at my hand in there for reference. So, and it's one of my oldest. I've had this in my garden for quite a while. It actually was transplanted from my front garden a number of years ago, but it is just a beauty. It really is very, very happy here. It's growing on a trellis, and again, this is on the north side of our property, but it gets a fair amount of sun kind of throughout the day. So it's really one of my one of my happier vines, which makes me very happy. When you have a clematis obsession, sometimes you're growing them in you're not your most picturesque areas. So there's a clematis for every location, and this one is back on my in my utility area because I had nowhere else to put it. But it is Clematis Haku Ookan. Again, not my most picturesque section, but it's still a sweet little clematis. This is Westerplatte. He's growing on my fence line that is in my narrow garden along the south side of my house. And at this moment, in quite a bit of shade, but it does get a fair amount of sun. And just getting started is another compact grower. This one I've actually got growing in a container, and it's called Carnaby. And I've got it growing in a container here, and its bloom is just beginning. And hopefully it will continue going and kind of be supported by this vine, by this mesh up top. Also growing on my south side fence line, that open mesh, steel mesh, is H.F. Young, kind of a soft blue, big, beautiful flowers. Kind of give you an idea of size with my hand in there. It's growing through an evergreen shrub that I've got espaliered on my fence line to provide privacy. So the shrub is evergreen, the deciduous vine clambers through it, and so they are just kind of a nice sequence and also very functional. So Clematis H.F. Young. The first flush of bloom has already kind of come and gone on this one. This is Clematis Pink Champagne. It grows across this fence line here, but it also kind of traipses a little bit up into the evergreen trees there. So a couple weeks ago, it was blooming up in there, and it will continue blooming. It's just taking a bit of a break because you can see the vine is growing through the other end of that Itea ilicifolia, and it's just beyond the H.F. Young. And this is Fragrant Star. Very pretty little face. I like it in combination with that variegated foliage on the diasporum. A non-twining clematis. This is Rooguchi, and he's just getting started, but we do have a little bloom there. He's actually commingling with another clematis in that container, so its foliage starts in this container, and then I'm supporting it up through here, and it's going to start blooming. So I don't know if when it has a single bloom, does that count as being in bloom? Now we're out in the front garden, and we're just outside the gate, so you can kind of see the gate there in the background. And this is in the front garden, clambering through a rhododendron, and this is Niobe. Look at that rich red. It's a beauty. Another youngster that's just getting started is Westerplatte. I have it in two locations. I'm trying it in this new location, see if it'll do a little better for me. And it's recently planted. My hope is that it will grow up that little structure and into this conifer. In the front slope, that southwest corner, another one just waking up and getting ready to go. This is Viva Polonia. There are three clematis in this section here, and they will be cohabiting with this rose throughout the summer. So I'm going to start with this one, which I do not have an ID for. Again, it's been in my garden for a long time, and I have lost track of what its actual variety name is. But it's pretty, and I like it. I like it. And then newer addition, and just getting started in its bloom, is Elsa Spath. So she's just starting, and she's going to take up where the president leaves off. The president has been blooming for uh, a while now, and it's kind of in peak bloom, so it's just gorgeous. It is very established. It's starting to, it'll commingle with the rose up there. It's going to keep going. It goes up into my Stewardia. And both of my Stewardia is large enough now to kind of uh, not be overwhelmed by a vine sharing its space. The rose also is not going to be overwhelmed, but I am, I have to referee these things and make sure that the vines don't engulf plants that can't support them. We're back along the north side fence line, but we're in the front. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to show you this one, which is Clematis Blue Dancer. And these are its seed heads. So it was glorious in bloom for a long period this spring and has now transitioned to these wonderful seed heads, which are really just pretty, very pretty as well. And we're going along. This is Rouge Cardinal, just getting started. Nice deep red. You can see the buds are forming. So, but very early, and will be a nice follow-up to this lovely, lovely plant that has been blooming for a while. And this one's called Josephine, and it's been in my garden for quite a while. Ooh, we got a visitor there. And it's very generous in bloom. And it's an interesting one in that, many of the flowers are single, but it's a double as well. See that double bloom back there? So a lot of times I think what they say is that the early blooms are more inclined to be double, and then as the season goes on, more single. It just has a nice bicolor effect, very generous in bloom. And that concludes our clematis tour. So many more are going to be coming into bloom as the weeks and months pass. And as I mentioned before, some of them have already bloomed and faded. So there's just so many. They're so fun to grow, and I have been adding many to my garden over the last couple of years, and so it's been really fun to kind of uh, figure out what they want and how to make them happy. And I'm still learning in that respect, but they do bring great joy, and I hope that you enjoyed this tour as well.